Hello friends, Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. You know, over the years I've kept a wide variety of the fish that are considered the most violent, the most aggressive in Lake Malawi that are commonly available in the aquarium hobby, and those are the Nimbochromis. I've kept linni, I've kept a polystigma, and I've kept the three that I have currently in the tank behind me here: a venustus, a livingstonii, and a fusco. These are beautiful fish. They get very large, and they have the reputation of being very aggressive, very violent, especially among themselves, among the Nimbochromis. So let's go ahead and talk about it and how I've been able to keep them relatively peaceful, and also some tips that might help you to be able to keep these large, beautiful African cichlids. If you're new to the channel and you like the content, please be sure to hit that notification bell so that you are informed when new material posts, and also please hit that thumbs up and share and all that good stuff, and that way YouTube will go ahead and share my channel with other fish keepers like yourself. Thank you for that. So let's talk a little bit about the Nimbochromis. My first tip for you is this: if you can, pick up a batch of them, 3 of each that you can get your hands on, and go ahead and raise them up from a fry. And by fry I mean an inch and a half, and bring them up, raise them up, and you will see that there are different temperaments and of course different colors and things of this nature, and eventually be able to pick out from the group the ones that are the most peaceful and the best colors, so that and because they grew up together, there's a likelihood, based on my experience, that they will get along better. So tip number 1, get them young and raise them up young if you can. Not always easy to get your hands on a group of Nimbochromis, but if you can, do that. Tip number 2, keep them well fed. And I have found that when they are well fed, which of course comes with additional maintenance, making sure that your filters are clean and that you're doing your water changes and things of that nature. But if you keep them well fed, they tend to be a little calmer, and they tend to be pretty excitable and a bit less patient when they're very hungry. Now, every now and then, full disclosure, I will go ahead and fast them for a day just to clean out their system. I do include some vegetables in their diet, even though they are carnivores, and that helps to also keep them cleaned out. And also I keep the lights out, and I guess we can call this tip number 3. I run the lights in the morning for about 3 or 4 hours, and I run the lights in the evening for about 3 or 4 hours. So for the rest of the time, the lights are out and they're pretty calm and relaxed, and not really getting into it with each other. Doesn't mean that if you have a jerkfish, a real true killer, that they're not going to be doing their hunting and killing in the dark, because I have had that happen as well. But I've had that happen, interestingly enough, more with peacocks than I have with Nimbochromis or haps, what you would call more of the predator type fish. Next point I'm going to give you is when you add a fish, a Nimbochromis, to a tank, and you already have ones in it, like I did recently with the fusco, have your lights out, give the fish a good feeding, turn the lights out, and then simply add the new fish to the tank. And when the lights go on, in their little short memory fishy brains, they'll see that new fish and very often just go, well, I guess you've always been here. So they have kind of a dory kind of a thing. But add fish in the dark, add them when they're well fed, and then always be around to observe how they're doing after you've added the fish. And if you notice that they have some passing interest in each other, they check each other out, maybe they flare up their fins a little bit, that's okay. But if they go into an immediate killer type chasing type of behavior where it looks like they're really out to get each other, you may have to take action. And that leads me to my final tip, and that is this. If you find that you do have a fish that either is too violent to begin with or has, for whatever reason, turned into a violent fish, immediately remove that fish. Don't mess around. And I gave this as my best cichlid aggression tip in a video a while back. And you may have to, as you go along and evolve your group of cichlids, remove fish, mix and match until you end up with a combination that actually can get along relatively well. And with cichlids, that means some occasional chases, but not the not the violent, I'm going to bang you against the wall and kill you and destroy your swim bladder so you're going to be upside down and helpless, and the kind of things that can happen with these larger fish. When they attack each other, they can actually create a lot of damage, from something as simple as losing of scales, open wounds, as well as trapping a fish against the wall of the tank and rupturing or hurting a swim bladder. And this really incapacitates the fish and sets them up for final destruction. So watch them closely, and keep in mind that anything I say in this video is anecdotal. It worked for me. It may or may not work for you. So many factors going on. Water conditions, tank mates, the size of your tank, how stocked or crowded your tank is. A variety of factors can impact what I'm talking about. I've had people even tell me that lighting can impact the behavior of the fish. So keep in mind that everything I say, you have to take it with a grain of salt and use your own common sense and research. However, these have worked for me. These points I just covered with you, and I currently have 3 of what you would call the most violent fish in the tank, and Nimbochromis, and they are swimming past each other without much interest in each other. And they were all added as adults. They didn't even grow up together, so they didn't have the advantage of always being around each other. Now, one last caution. Anything that you have going on with cichlids can change instantly. Unfortunately, that's how they roll, and sometimes something gets triggered in that little cichlid mind, and you're off to the races. So just keep that in mind as well, and be ready with an additional tank that you can use, or a local fish store that you can take a fish to, and be ready to swap out or remove a fish from the tank if you have to. That all comes with keeping these large, beautiful African cichlids. Okay, so that's my message. Those are my tips. And if you're interested in Nimbochromis, I hope these tips work for you and you can keep them, because they're absolutely gorgeous and they get big and bulky and colorful, and certainly some of my most interesting fish. And we'll end off with just a look at the fish, and then afterwards, check out some of the videos that will pop up at the end of this video. I'll include one on cichlid aggression, a playlist on cichlid aggression, and also a playlist on species profiles where I talk about certain Nimbochromis, including some of the linnis and polystigmas that I've owned in the past. Okay, thank you for tuning in, my friend. You are appreciated, and I hope to see you on Saturday for the Cichlids and Coffee live stream. That's at 11 a.m. Central, and see you next time. Bye-bye.